Hello and welcome to a new episode of Big Garden, Little Garden, a fortnightly podcast with me, Geraldine Scully.
And me, Claire Luke. We're here to encourage you to start growing and stay growing, no matter how big or small your outdoor space, and to find joy in the process. And we're back. The first episode of 2026, and we want to wish you all a very happy new year.
A very happy gardening new year.
Yes, very true, Geraldine, for happy gardening new year. And I was really looking forward to recording this podcast.
Yeah, I'm delighted to be back.
Yeah, back to our chats. And we have lots of really exciting things on the horizon.
We have, we're going to do some garden visits and report back on those throughout the year. And we'll have a webpage by the end of the month, so there'll be a blog to go with each episode from the end of January, hopefully.
Great stuff. So that means lots of extra information for everyone that they can continue to enjoy.
Yeah, and refer back to if you...
Yes.
Or maybe some extra information, as I say, about whatever we talk about on each episode.
Yeah, I think that's a great... it's going to work really well with each episode. And also we're going to continue and get some more interesting guests on.
Yes, we have a few people lined up. We won't announce anyone yet, just in case. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, but back to reality for the moment. Claire, tell us about your trees.
Yes, my trees, as you know, they arrived and I potted them up. I thought briefly about doing a video, but it wasn't very pretty, so I didn't bother. I saved you that.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to pot up and video yourself at the same time.
Yeah, the huffing and puffing. I did video the unboxing, which I thought was it might have been a fun thing. I just sped it up.
Yeah, that was where I was getting a little nervous with the quantity that was coming out of the package.
And another one.
Okay.
And another one.
What have you bought?
Yeah. So just to recap, I bought a crab apple tree. I bought 2 apple trees because, as we discussed, I realised I couldn't just have one. I had to have 2 for things to work. Pollinator. And then I have a pear tree. Now, these are all in pots and small.
Okay. They won't say small, though. You do know that.
No.
But it's great. You know, I'm delighted with your enthusiasm about this, and interesting to see how it progresses in pots. A lot of minding now on trees in pots. But I suppose if they're the only trees you have, you're going to be well able to look after them. So are they looking good?
I'm really happy with them. I stand there kind of studying them, the glass, like... A little bit like a watch pot. I feel like so responsible, and I'm really emotional about these trees. I don't know, I just love them. And I nearly jumped out of my skin when I spotted there's buds on the crab apple.
Right, okay. So a little sign of life.
I went out and I really inspected it, and I can see that so far it's happy and there are things happening. And also, just to mention, because I didn't say there, is I have a blueberry shrub as well. Okay. And when I went to inspect that, I also saw little buds, and they can be finicky, as you told me.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I know anyone who's really growing them well, because they do need acid soil.
Yeah.
So obviously in Dublin, there's no growing them in the soil. I'd love to hear from anybody who is growing blueberries well and what part of the country you're in.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting to see. I did once buy a blueberry, but... sure, God love it, I didn't know what I was doing, so it didn't thrive, let's put it that way.
Yeah, but I went and I got, I made sure it was an acidic soil and the right one, so hopefully it does seem happy, and they are starting to move in certain ways. But you know what I haven't seen? I haven't seen the birds. They even on the crab apple, I can't get them to just come in, one of them.
Okay, yeah, it's sort of... Where your garden is, it is sparse for trees.
Yes.
In the surrounding gardens don't seem to have trees.
No.
I think I might hang a little bird feeder on one of the trees and see does that lure them in. Look, they'll come. They'll come. Sure, why wouldn't they?
I know at the moment I just see seagulls and magpies, but I've seen very few small little birds around the road in general. And the minute I come down to your house, you can hear it in the background now. I hear birds, I see birds everywhere, but you have a lot of trees.
There are a lot of trees around us, and, you know, there are a lot of mature trees around us. But we do have the bird feeders, and I know that's controversial these days as to whether you should have bird feeders or not, but I really enjoy looking at them.
Oh, sure, I was mesmerised by a robin downstairs when we were looking out earlier. But yeah, so the trees are going so far so good, and I'm going to be very excited to see what happens.
Well, for me, it's an interesting experiment to see how you get on with them, and they're certainly bringing you plenty of joy. So
they are, and I'm dragging everyone out to look at them, but they're not really that interested.
Okay, well, we
need to calm down.
A little obsession there going on. Maybe row back a bit from that.
I will. I'll try and take it down an octave.
But I mean, there is an awful lot going on in the garden, and I know we've had a cold snap, but it just never seems to be proper winter in Dublin as far as I can see. I mean, I had camellia flowering before Christmas. Now that's unusual.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm talking about 1 or 2 flowers, but it's still unusual, and snowdrops are out, hellebores are beginning to come into flower. There's just loads out there, budding and flowering, so I don't know, it's feels like an early spring. Maybe it's not. You know, you always imagine every year is different, but it does seem to me like it's been a very benign December.
Yeah, it does, because I'm noticing the thalia that I sowed before Christmas, obviously in autumn, starting to come up. I mean, just the first signs of them coming through, breaking through, you know.
I actually saw well developed daffodils somewhere. I can't even remember where I saw them, but they look like they're going to be flowering in the next few weeks. So there you go. That's Dublin for you. I presume other parts of the country it's much slower, but we just don't seem to get cold weather in Dublin.
Yeah, and the only thing, because I had mentioned to you, I visited Shirkin Island on New Year's Day.
Oh yes, that looked beautiful.
Oh God, it was glorious. I mean, the water was like glass getting over there from Baltimore. It was 10 minutes, and just walking around the island, it was so mild, and it really felt like things were, you know, almost coming into bloom. Like it was just mad.
Yeah, that is a particular part of Ireland, though.
Yeah,
there is a microclimate. I mean, it is near the Gulf Stream, I suppose, and you know, there are other gardens down there that don't ever seem to get frosted. So,
it was incredible. It's such a beautiful part of the world.
The photographs looked really, really lovely.
Highly recommended. And in my pots, there's, you know, the calendula seedlings are through there, and the iris reticulatas come through, starting to come. Yeah, so I feel like it's
loads of life.
Loads of life.
Yeah, it hardly stops, really. You know, it's just great to see it. But I find that, you know, there's life everywhere now. I can hear the foxes barking away up in the park at night, obviously making baby foxes, I'd say, for the next season. So it's happening all around us. And berries, it's been such an amazing year for berries.
Yeah.
Just never seen so many berries, and the birds don't seem to be getting through them. They seem to be well stuffed at the moment, at least the Dublin birds. It's great. I mean, there's a lot of colour around, and now there you go.
It doesn't feel, you know, like winter you imagine to be very sparse and to be quite, like, as you said, lacking in life. It's quite the opposite. I did notice that there was lots of berries still, and I was thinking, birds are fussy.
And colour, you know, there's a lot of red with dogwood flowering. Even when you drive down the motorway now, there's dogwood everywhere and silver birch. It's just beautiful, really. It's a beautiful time of the year. But a great time to look, I know we've touched on this before, but a great time to look at your garden structure. And if your garden works in winter, then you do have a good skeleton, I suppose. And now is the time to take care of that. If something's not right, or if you need something in one corner, or you need to move something, it is a good time to be doing it.
Okay, so it's a good time now to again stand back and assess and see.
I mean, time will run out once we get right into the end of February. Everything's going to be growing again, and you've kind of lost that chance to assess the garden. So if you haven't done it, do it now. Cast a cold eye, get rid of what's not good, put in something new if you feel there's a space to be developed, and just think about next winter and what the garden's going to look like. Now, all I've planted is another lilac. I have 2 lovely lilacs already, really dark purple ones whose name just completely escapes me at the moment. And I've picked a paler, not quite the Syringa vulgaris pale, but one called Carpe Diem that I've never come across before. So it's just to have a bit of contrast in the colours. I mean, they're well tucked away now in my garden because, as you know, for the most part of the year, lilac is just an awful looking thing, really.
Yeah, it looks raggy, doesn't it?
Raggy and just no interest. It has no interest really as a tree until it flowers. And to me, it's irresistible. And if you have lilac, remember it flowers on old wood. So it makes the wood this year for the flowers next year. If you're going to prune it after it flowers. So it has an opportunity to recover and make growth for next year. Because if you prune it, unless you're pruning it for shape, if you prune it at this time of the year, you're lopping off all the flowers.
Oh God, okay, and you don't want that.
Yeah, but you do need to keep them small because otherwise all you get is a big gangly tree with the flowers on the top. But if you're growing them for cut flowers or just for your house, try and keep a good shape and keep them small so the flowers are accessible.
I love lilac so much.
Sure. I think everybody
God,
loves lilac. It's one of those plants.
It's so beautiful. Reminds me of May altars and things like that.
That's right.
From school. And just the beautiful smell.
Yeah, when not that much was going on, I suppose. Yeah, it's just lovely. So that's all I've been at.
Yeah, I have a dwarf lilac actually that I moved from a pot and I put it into that very skinny border where I used to have, the bush grasses along there.
Oh, right, the raised bed.
Raised bed, yeah, exactly, the raised bed more so than the border. And it looks fairly happy. And remember I said to you, I wondered, was I seeing things? I saw little tiny, flowers in before Christmas. Do you remember I said that? And you said, because I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but I think some plants do kind of put out little spurts of flowers at odd times of the year when you least expect, just to be honest with you.
Now, they were tiny, it was a little, but still, I was like, is that unusual? But anyway.
Yeah, I think it was unusual.
Yeah.
But not unheard of, I suppose.
Okay, yeah. But, I'm looking forward to that when it's the right time for it. But listen, that's all ahead of us. For now, we are thinking about some beautiful little gems about to peak up, and that being the snowdrops.
Yes, and they're already pretty well up, but they're not out in their big flush yet with those big clumps that we all enjoy. But I mean, the snowdrops that flower from late autumn right into almost summer. Depends on what you've got. But I mean, the history of snowdrops is they're not native to Ireland. They're not native to England, though they have become naturalised. And the two main ones that you would encounter naturalised in Ireland and England are Nivalis, and the other one is Elwesii. Sorry, nearly went out of my head there. There's records they're native to kind of northeastern Europe and some parts of the Mediterranean. And I'm told there's about 20 species in all, but by the late 16th century there are records of them being grown in England. Now, we used to hear stories that the Romans brought them to England, or that the soldiers coming back from the Crimea brought them to England, but that isn't true.
Okay.
They somehow travelled to England, but I believe neither of those stories is true. And then later on in kind of 17th century and really in the 18th century, when botany began to be developed as a science and plant collectors were out and about, it was given the botanical name Galanthus.
Okay.
So it's not a name that's really used. I mean, I think everybody just calls them snowdrops, but the Galanthophiles, who are the real enthusiastic snowdrop collectors and breeders, they like to be known as Galanthophiles. So
I love that name.
It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? I just kind of call them the Galanthophiles.
It's like a secret society or something.
It kind of is, and they're. I mean, when you meet a real Galantophile, I tell you, watch out. They are so enthusiastic. But there's hundreds and hundreds now of cultivars and hybridised snowdrops. Some of them selling for huge amounts of money, like €100 for a bulb is not unheard of, and more besides.
God
sometimes.
almighty. Yeah.
But all I really love, I have a few of the rare and unusual ones, but I just love masses of Nivalis. I think there's nothing more beautiful than seeing that.
So pure.
And Ireland seems to be a good place for snowdrops. You know, as I say, they are naturalised now, all protected now. Can't go and dig up anything anywhere, protected right across Europe, which is great. And so growing them, in my experience, was tricky enough. I spent a long time trying to establish them until I finally just hit the jackpot. And the secret to my success has been planting them in areas where it is bone dry during the summer. They hate wet anyway. They don't even like wet in the winter. You need well-drained soil.
Okay.
But I have them on 2 dry banks in the garden and around any deciduous shrub that I have or small tree. I always plant a few snowdrops in because the snowdrops are over and done with by the time the tree starts to grow, and that keeps...
Okay, so it needs the water, it draws up the water.
Draws up the water,
okay,
and keeps the bulbs dry all summer.
So they work
very well.
That
has just been a great success. I'm thrilled with myself. I've loads of snowdrops now. When they do properly come out, I'll post a few photographs.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is possible to do it even in not a huge garden, you know.
Okay. There's the thing about snowdrops, though, and I'm going to reveal my ignorance on snowdrops here, is that I always kind of took them for granted a little bit. Number one, I thought they were wild and native, which I now know they're not.
They've been here a long time. So
yeah, and I never realised, you know, I totally appreciated their beauty and their delicateness and the sign of spring and just something so gorgeous about them coming through. But I never realised that they were so highly regarded, or there were, you know, the Galanthophiles who studied them so in-depthly, and there was so many species of them. Like, it blows my mind. It's incredibly interesting.
Yeah, it's a big club.
Yeah.
You know, there's no doubt. And they run what they call a snowdrop month in Altamont Gardens, but they do a snowdrop gala every year, where they have speakers. I mean, that's always really interesting to go to. In February, they have speakers, often from England, from big gardens, or even people who are propagating snowdrops. A lot of really interesting people, and that's always a great day out.
Yeah. So there's a big kind of, industry is the wrong word, but there's quite a big following around snowdrops.
I tell you, that snowdrop gala down at Altamont is always sold out.
Sounds glamorous.
Yeah, well, it sounds it's a bit less glamorous than it sounds, but it's always good fun and really, you know, information that you mightn't have had before, meeting people who are growing snowdrops in earnest as opposed to a few in the back garden, you know.
Yeah, or my little pot.
Enthusiasts, I suppose I should say.
That's a good description. And I always bring you back to this lovely thing that you told me about giving snowdrops away.
Oh yeah, that's a kind of a thing among snowdrop growers, that the advice is, even if you've only a few bulbs of a particular snowdrop, give one away, give a clump away, give something away, and if there's ever a time when yours fail for any reason, you can go and look for a few snowdrops back from the person. But I think gardeners are just generous people anyway, you know, and unless you pay €100 for a bulb, why wouldn't you give a few of them away, I suppose. And
you gave me a lovely pot of them, so was that your motive as well, thinking if you spread them out?
If all mine fail, I know where there's a pot. No, I love giving them.
No, you're very generous.
I divide them up. I mean, it's good to divide the clumps up every maybe 3 or 4 years. Okay. And they do spread, and they spread relatively quickly. So there's always some left over, you know. It's always just give somebody 20 or 30 snowdrops. You know, you wouldn't notice they were gone out of your garden.
Oh no, I'm delighted to have them. I'm watching them with great interest. They've come through, so I'm looking forward to them.
But speaking of dividing them, that is the time to do it, is even if they're still in flower and going over, but once they've flowered, if you're dividing the clumps, dig them up, and what people say is divide them in the green, plant them in the green. It's the ideal way to get snowdrops. The dry bulbs that you buy, they're not always as successful. In fact, they're often a failure, to be honest with you. But if you can buy them growing in pots, even in a garden centre, or get some from somebody you know who has snowdrops around the end of February, beginning of March, that's the perfect time. And you can grow them in grass. You can naturalise them in grass. I mean, there's hardly as odd boots, really, once you've got them established.
Okay, once they've set down and they're happy.
They're happy. And then, you know, suddenly you might have a lovely one and then it's gone one year and you don't know where it's gone. But the kind of commoner snowdrops, they seem to just come back and back and back.
Okay. I read from a medicinal point of view that the bulb of snowdrops, it contained, what was it? I'm looking down at my notes here. Galanthophiles.
Yeah, I had not heard that until you mentioned it to me.
And apparently it was used to help with headaches, or also in some way it's used to treat Alzheimer's. It was just fascinating. I don't know the in-depth detail on it. It was just referred to.
That's definitely worth kind of having it. Because one of the things I did see was that initially in England they were grown by the monks.
Okay.
So that kind of does tie in with that medicinal sort of idea of them.
Yeah, another purpose.
Garden.
Yeah. But there's lots to snowdrops that I didn't know.
There's loads of books, loads of beautiful coffee table books, loads of specialist books. I mean, you know, if you really want to go down that rabbit hole, as they say, there's no shortage of material. But just to enjoy them when they're in their beautiful clumps, sure, how could you not love them? And
cut flowers. You always have some snowdrops in the house.
Yeah, I picked them.
They're gorgeous.
I mean, they're obviously very small and they don't last that great. But I just love putting them even just on the kitchen windowsill, just a few in a little tiny vase. They're just a joy, really. I can imagine living in the coldest climate. I can't really imagine living in a cold climate, but imagine you did. And then suddenly one day, out of the snow pops these snowdrops. I mean, it must be the most.
I know.
Like, we appreciate them and love them. Can you imagine that? When they're the first thing you see, and they're the same colour as the snow. Like, it is magical, really.
It's beautiful, and there's little hope. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the sign of things changing.
And something happening under the soil. But in Irish, they're called plúirín sneachta, which is just snowflower. But it's just a sweet little sing-songy name, isn't it?
There's something kind of childlike in it, or something. It sounds quite. That's really
it's sweet. I think.
Yeah, it is sweet and innocent, like yourself, Geraldine.
Ah, sure. There you go. So
you have some places to suggest.
Yeah, I mean, what I would suggest is that if people have any interest in snowdrops, they should go and look. You know, there's a certain amount of places in Ireland now that advertise snowdrop days, if you like. Now, the first one I'm going to mention is the RHSI garden in Shinrone in County Offaly, which was bequeathed to the RHSI, and they have been developing the snowdrop garden there. And close by that, there's a beautiful churchyard, I think it's St. Mary's, which has, it's just like one of those picturesque graveyards where all the graves are covered in snowdrops. It's just a beautiful thing to see. So that's in Shinrone. That's only open, I think, 3 days in February. So check their website, check the RHSI website for those opening days. But Altamont in Carlow is one of the gardens that have really put themselves on the map for snowdrops, and they're open every day, and the whole month of February is about celebrating snowdrops, and they've acquired a big collection of bulbs from an English nursery that was closing, and so they have a lot of snowdrops for sale.
Okay, a big collection.
It's a great place to go. It's a great place to go and see them and to buy them. Mm-hmm. And where else have we then? There is Blarney Castle in Cork. I've never been there now. Apparently they have a great selection of snowdrops. Burtown House in Athy. That's a very nice visit. Great restaurant there. And Huntington Castle, also in Carlow, very close to Altamont. That's about it that I know of. Well, I should know, actually, gosh, better mention Hunterbrook in Wicklow, Jimmy Blake's garden.
Okay.
Yeah, he has a really fantastic collection of snowdrops now that he's been working on. Again, just check the websites for open days.
Some lovely places to visit, and
there
maybe in training to be a Galanthophile.
Yes. You might catch the bug and watch out. Yeah, you just like the word.
I do like the word.
And just say one other thing. I've found in recent years, if I've been planting any new hellebores, I always put a little clump of snowdrops in with them. They go together, and also then the hellebores are such vigorous growers that they do keep the snowdrops dry during the summer. Maybe those bulbs might be a bit overwhelmed eventually, but it's working at the moment.
And can I ask you, did you discover that by accident, or did you hear of it?
No, I kind of discovered it out of laziness and not wanting to have to dig extra holes. But I did really have to kind of find a way to grow them myself. I did try a good few times with snowdrops, even in the green, but I just planted them into the borders and wondered why they didn't really succeed. I think I figured it out for myself, to be honest with you, eventually.
They're good bedfellows.
Yeah, so I went mad one spring and planted 1,000 snowdrops, which sounds huge.
Yeah, it does.
But in fact, it's not that many snowdrops. And they were the first ones I ever established, and they were Irish bulbs. So I think sometimes just getting local things does work.
Are they just a bit stronger, or have travelled less?
I think they've travelled less, and maybe similar conditions to where they came from.
Yeah, okay.
And I know a lot of the bulbs in Altamont are Irish bulbs. So worth seeking that out, I think. I always feel anything that is grown anywhere near where you're gardening has to be better.
Okay. It's very well adapted to the conditions
already.
That are there.
Maybe they're the words I was looking for. They're already adapted to the same conditions. But anyway, I hope people do plant snowdrops because there's great joy in them.
Yeah, I've started to I mean, I always thought they were very pretty, but I've a whole new appreciation for them now.
Okay. Maybe plant a few in the pots around your trees.
Oh, God, yes, absolutely.
Why not?
Full of possibility now. And could you do that actually? Like literally just, do you mean put them in the top, or do you mean...
just little... When they flowered, when they're finished, just pick out a few of the bulbs and just dot them in around the roots.
Oh, God. Really, that's such the loveliest idea. I'll definitely try that.
Look, why wouldn't it work? I'm sure if it doesn't work, you haven't really lost much,
Apart from telling everyone on the podcast that I was going to do.
Yeah, well, okay, this time next year we might just forget to go back to that segment.
But in all seriousness, that is a gorgeous idea, and I am definitely doing that. I didn't even think of doing that. But now, thank you, Geraldine.
Oh, you're very welcome. For both the snowdrops and the idea.
I told you she was very generous. Right, so that's it for this episode. And next time, our plant profile is going to be hellebores.
Yes, who doesn't love hellebores? This is another plant that has just gained a huge following. Really in the last maybe 20 years, loads of hybrids. So we're going to do a plant profile, a deep dive into hellebores next time round.
I'm looking forward to that. I absolutely love hellebores, and I haven't gotten any, which is another story for next time. And of course, as ever, stay up to date with everything on our Instagram account at BigGardenLittleGarden, or drop us an email to BigGardenLittleGarden@gmail.com. But until next time, that's it for now, and goodbye.
See you soon.
See you.